Hello friends, I'm THRALL. I'm a former Royal Marines Commando, that's British Elite Armed Forces. I'm now an adventurer, an author, a public speaker, and I'm gradually moving into life coaching. So podcast number 5, I'm going to talk about the time that me and my buddy Simo, we got kidnapped stroke mugged by the Turkish Mafia. Back in 1991, I was serving on an aircraft carrier. There were 12 of us Marines on a aircraft carrier with altogether 1,200 sailors on board when we went to sea. That included all the teams for the aircraft, the Harrier jump jets and the helicopters. And one time we sailed to Istanbul. Our job as Marines, we form part of a high security detachment protecting the top secret weapons on board. And when we pulled into port, we'd go into a shift routine. So you'd get maybe 2 days off and have to work a day. So on one of the days off in Istanbul, I decided to go ashore with this buddy of mine, Simo, and we'd been told about the cages. The cages were in the old part of Istanbul, called Istanbul Old Town. Istanbul is the beginning of Asia. It's basically where the East meets West, and it's a fascinating place. The Old Town represents, well, just that really, the old part of the city, the yet to be modernized. And then as you come east towards Europe, you get a much more modern vibe, right? So this place called the Cages is in the Old Town, and basically it's like a brothel where if your husband has been locked up in prison, like if you've seen the film Midnight Express, you'll know the Salamanca prison. It's a real kind of sleazy place full of like sick criminals and mentally deranged individuals. You know, if your husband gets banged up in there in Turkey, as the wife, you can go to the Cages, become a prostitute, and pay off his debt to society. That's the history behind it. Anyway, I don't know what it was when I went there. I think there was quite a mix of people would go to the Cages to earn money, and no doubt they were all controlled by organised crime. So Sim and I had heard about this place from other military people, and we were just curious to go and see if it actually existed. And so we found the street it was in, and there was 2 big like bouncer types on the door, on the gateway to this street. I tried going back years later, incidentally, when one time I drove to India from Norway. I drove a bus full of volunteer workers to India. We were writing articles about people living in poverty. And when we stopped off in Istanbul, my buddy and I, Lee, I tried to go and show him these Cages because they're quite an eye-opener. They wouldn't let Westerners in then, so obviously, you know, becoming part of, I think they were part of the European Union. They were trying to be part of the European Union then. You know, they probably put measures in place to make sure Westerners didn't see this, because it was pretty depraved. So anyway, going back to the 90s, Simo and I went down there. These big like henchmen let us in, and like I say, it's a real eye-opener. You walk down this street and there's literally cages all down each side of it on the front of buildings, and in these cages they're full of women all sat in like their bra and knickers, and there was local women. Without meaning to sound rude, they were pretty rough. You know, they didn't look like they'd had easy lives. And it did make you wonder how some of them got any custom. But judging by some of the walk people that must have gone down that street, and I guess they could all make a living somehow. It wasn't pretty. And I walk along the street, and there were Kai Thais, there were, you know, lady boys from Thailand. As I don't know what the politically correct way of saying that is these days, but transgender, is it? But yeah, I must have looked at this Thai girl too long, or looked at her wrong. Simo and I have been drinking all day anyway, right? And she just stood up and went smack, hit me right in the fucking balls, and it hurt. But to be honest, my feelings were even more, because I didn't mean to upset this lass. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been taking a piss. Promise you, you know. Anyway, so we're taking all this in. This guy comes up behind us and says, "Guys, you wanna come to my bar for drinks?" So Sim and I were like, yeah, we'll come to your bar. And he said, "Yeah, we've got, you know, just Thai girls serving my bar, Thai girls, you know." So he turned around and walked away, and Simo and I followed him. And I turned to Simo and said, "You know this is going to end in tears, right?" And Simo went, "Yeah, let's go." So we followed this guy nonetheless. Talk about naive, and some of you watching this, you probably know what's going to happen, right? So we followed him up these aging, crumbling back streets where water was dripping down like moss-mottled walls, you know. Brickwork was crumbling away. It's really old. It's like something from the Crusades. And finally, went up all these steps, and he led us to this doorway set into a wall. He opened it. We entered, and we found ourselves in this bar. And we sat down at a table, or he sat us down at a table, right? And then this guy disappeared. And we should have clicked. He had like the pinstripe suit on, the little kind of razor cut tie, grease back hair. He's obviously Mafia, right? Turkish Mafia, but we didn't kind of realise that at the time. No sooner we sat down, but two girls approached us, and they sat down. They weren't Thai girls, I can tell you that. In fact, they weren't even sort of that attractive. And the barman comes up, puts all these drinks in front of us. So Simo and I were necking these drinks. The girls are kind of, they're feigning interest. They're not really interested in talking to us. But so I nodded at the barman, and he came over and I said, "So where's all these Thai girls then? You know, talk about naive." He said, come. So we followed him, and he walked off down these stairs, and we entered this underground like cellar. It was like an alleyway running underground, and we followed this guy along it, and there was a door set into the wall, and he opened it. He went, in, and stupidly we stepped through this door, and he slammed it behind us, and we're in this room, and I look around. There's a big desk in front of us, and sat behind the desk is this big Mafia Don kind of guy, big old grey guy, you know, grey-haired guy, fat, purple braces, purple tie, purple pinstripe suit, right, like Mafia looking guy. Down the side of the walls of this kind of underground office, there's four guys stood like soldiers on each side of the wall, all with the Mafia, you know, the slick Mafia suits on. And similar, I are like wondering what is going on. This big Mafia guy, he gets this bill out and he puts it on the table, and he's like, "Okay, so you have 4 drinks." I'm like, "What? 4 drinks?" We had 2 beers. He said, no, 2 for you, 2 for the girls. What? He said, okay, $200, American. What? He said, no, you're talking to my girls, 200, and to come in my club, 100. What? $500 just to sit down with 2 pretty rough women, didn't even talk to us, and have half a beer. So I just looked at the guy and said, fuck off, mate, we're off. I turned to go, and one of these mafia types just stands across the door. So he points to the chairs. So Simo and I, we had to go and, we sat down in this chair, and I said to the guy, look, we're paying fuck all, mate. And I said, get the police here now. He went, okay, and he just shrugged. 10 minutes later, this policeman turned up, right? And he came in. My heart kind of like lifted. He looked at the bar bill, looked at us, looked at the guy and went, put it down, walked out. I'm thinking, that's kind of like our last hope has just gone out that door, right? And I'm stood there thinking what to do. I'm not going to pay this guy. And 4 of the guys walked out. I don't know, they had some errand or something that they were going to do, and they just left the 2 guys in on each side of the room and this Mafia Don guy. So I'm looking at Simo, and we're both thinking the same thing. I'll smash these guys, you smash them, and then we'll do a runner. So I'm looking at Simo and I'm going, 1, 2, and just as I'm like motioning 3, the door opened again and these guys came back in, which in hindsight is probably just as well for us, right? And guys, pay, you pay. They're all starting to get really like violent, So I just stood up and said, fuck off, mate, we're paying you fuck all. Turn around, push this guy, and I walked to the door. Simo is still sat in a chair just about to try and follow me. The guys grab me, and one of them just gets my hair and he just starts smashing my head against the wall. And I'm like trying to make it sound like he's really, really hurting me, just to give myself a bit of a window of opportunity, just to buy myself time really, and make this guy thinking that he's really getting his point across, and maybe he's hurt a Westerner, and that's he's gonna maybe regret that slightly or something. I'm just laying it on. I'm sat in a chair thinking, fuck, these guys they are really serious, aren't they, And I had my Rolex on, which in today's money was worth about £6,000, so about, $11,000. I've got a really expensive camera in a camera bag, and I'm thinking, Chris, don't risk getting really done over and losing them, So the funny thing was, I'd hidden all my money and my credit card down my sock, which was just something I did when I travelled. And Simo had all his money in his wallet, and so I just, Simo, let's just give these guys what we got, And I had like $10 in my pocket. Simo had like $100, and just give it that guy and said, mate, that's all you're fucking getting, take it or leave it. And he's like, and he nods at these goons, and they grabbed us and ran us out through this underground passageway, out a back door, and they just chucked us in this alleyway, and I landed on top of Simo. We just burst out laughing, kind of got away quite lightly really. I mean, those guys, they're just like Mafia or Triads that I've met all around the world. Nasty sociopathic individuals that they just don't give a what about you. So anyway, so if you're not familiar with this scam, then hopefully you are now, and you won't get caught out by it. So in the next video, I think one of the next podcasts, I'm going to talk about how I got kidnapped in the South American jungle. That was fun. So like and subscribe if you would, folks, and take care, friends.